Hello.
Good morning.
Together
We are back.
together alive. We took a week off because what were we doing last week? We just wanted to spend time. We took 2 weeks off.
Yeah, we did not do a podcast for 2 weeks. 1 week was Backrooms, and the other week
Oh.
was Scary Movie.
Yeah, it's summer.
I don't know what else
summertime.
did we do for Backrooms.
It's I don't know. Back rooms.
What else did we do that weekend?
Was the first week of the pool being open. So
Yeah, but what else did we do that weekend? Let me check this.
All right, check it.
Check.
Check.
Chickadee check. Let me check this.
All right,
Chickadee check. Yep.
I don't know if I had a calendar.
We did something Sunday too, because I remember that's why we ended up not
doing it.
Yeah.
He likes to be
Yeah.
Let's see. What day was it? I don't know. But anyway, that was like the first weekend. 2 weeks ago was the first weekend that the kids were off for the summer. So
And I don't think that wasn't the weekend of the pool though. The pool was the following weekend. Or wait, or was that the weekend? No, the pool was this past weekend with Scary Movie. That's why we didn't do it last weekend, because we swam Sunday. But I don't remember what we did Sunday before that. Oh, that was Memorial Day. Yeah, Memorial Day.
I swear we did.
He doesn't know what his email is. He's gonna come in here and whisper. So this is episode Michael Jordan. And if you don't know what that means, that's episode 23, because that's the number that Michael Jordan is.
Yeah.
So now you know.
And if you
the GOAT
have never seen us, we're Together Out Loud, married couple 10 and a half years now.
Yep. Over 10 years.
Over 10 years.
I don't remember what we spoke about on our last episode.
I don't remember either. I know that this one is, I think last week or last time we talked about, we had some guests that we talked about conspiracy theories.
Oh yeah, last time that Miami Gilbert came up and we talked about Flat Earth. Dan came up and we talked about the Pew Pew, I guess, event for Ivanka. Is that her name?
I think also sorry, I'm like going back to why we didn't do it 2 weeks ago. That was also the last game of soccer.
Yes.
And that was a whole to do.
Yeah, so we had a whole, we had soccer, we had Fill It Up, we had the movie. Yeah. So we just had a lot of stuff going on. So basically took a break for our kids to do things with them. And that also, we've just been doing a lot of things with them.
That is your email, honey.
Email and password?
You have a different email on your phone than you do on your tablet.
She's trying to figure out stuff for...
So you have to look at your email on your tablet.
Our oldest.
For Roblox.
He's trying to put money on his Roblox account.
He just had a birthday party yesterday, and we were grateful that we had a pretty good turnout for
a lot of people showed up to come swimming.
Yep. So
that was good. That was fun. This is like a little... There we go. No. Oh my God.
Uneven.
Show you more.
No, I don't want to see me.
I'm just going to be like this.
But that's what it was 2 weeks ago. So basically, we our summer is with the kids as much as possible. Yeah, we still have to work, but it's with the kids as much as possible. And so next week we'll be on vacation, but we're still planning on doing like a
that's
special.
The interview week. Next week we will be interviewing the kids one by one. We're going to do 20-minute interviews with the kids, 20 minutes for each one.
Is this what you're
So that ought to be fun. But thank you everybody for joining. Thank you for tuning in. And if you're listening on Spotify or YouTube or any of those, thank you for listening.
Oh yeah, that's your email.
Ooh,
oh snap!
Somebody's dying. Just kidding.
I think somebody pulled out in front of somebody.
Somebody pulled out in front of somebody, probably because they couldn't see, because the neighbors out here park all the way down the road. They just park everywhere where they're not supposed to park. Anyways, but yeah, so we had a huge turnout with the birthday party at the pool. We had a pool party for him. He's the Big Ten, man. It goes quick. And we went and watched Backrooms. That was mid. That was okay, if you guys are wondering. It was okay. And we watched Scary Movie, the new Scary Movie. That was good. We thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah, that was.
And I liked that it made fun of everybody.
Yeah, the ending was the best part.
Sorry, I'm
for us older
For the old
millennial-
heads. Yeah,
or
it's
ger-
definitely
or
like a, I think
geriatric
it's a
millennials.
geriatric generation movie because there's a lot of humor in it for like an older generation. I think like maybe if you're born in the 80s, 90s, you would probably find a lot of humor in it.
Yeah. But today we were just gonna talk about
Yeah, we're going to talk about these little things, just some little funny, harmless debates like who's the stricter parent. Yeah, I would say her. I'm more of the fun parent.
Yeah. But I am trying very hard. It's one of those things where like we both have some trauma that we're trying to work through ourselves as we're adults. So one of my big things that I'm trying very hard not to do is when they like make a simple mistake, like they spill water or something like that. I don't want to freak out about it. Like when I was younger, like any little thing I did, it was like
A problem.
a problem. So I am trying to be like, oh, that's okay, just clean it up. It's fine. Especially if it's an accident, because then they will have this voice in their head saying that they have to be perfect and can't make any mistakes, and I don't want that. That's not realistic, and it's harmful for their psyche. But as far as strict, I don't think I'm like too strict. We have obviously rules in the house. I'm more of like routine and structure. I think that's very important for kids, even in summertime, which I'd like for you to talk about what we did yesterday, what you wanted to start for the summer. I think that's important. But so like even so during the school year, they get a timer set on their TV, and it's 7 o'clock is bedtime, which they can lay and watch TV a little bit. But once that timer goes off, they need to go to sleep. In the summertime, I don't set a timer, but 7 o'clock is still like we're winding down. You gotta chill, and definitely no YouTube at nighttime. And we've done away with tablets for the most part in the summer too. Mostly outside. I want to get them outside. But those are really the things that for me, like, I just want structure.
Hey, thank you for the follow, Melanie Buck, I think it says.
Oh, nice.
Yes, thank you for the follow, and,
Yes,
and
thank
please
you.
join in the conversation in the chat if you guys have any questions or anything you'd like to talk about. We like to leave this pretty open, so that way everybody can just talk about what they want to talk about.
Yeah, we're never gonna be like click, like, send us gifts and all that jazz. Because first of all, I don't even know what any
That's
of that
not,
means.
and that's not the purpose of all this.
Yeah.
We're doing this just to have conversations.
Exactly.
Swingers Pineapple.
Nah.
Never been there. Is that a strip club?
Is that a resort?
Come on down to Swingers Pineapples. Sounds like a strip club.
But anyway, yeah. But I would say I'm the stricter parent only because he's just more like a kid too.
Yeah, I'm definitely more like a kid. We've definitely. What age did your kids get TV in their rooms? Actually, they don't even. Most of the time, they're sleeping in the living room. They want to be close to us, so they do have TVs in their rooms, but they rarely use them. Our oldest will use it so he can watch YouTube because, and a lot of comedians talk about this because it is funny that we grew up playing video games, and for some odd reason, these ones want to watch people play video games.
For the
it's
Apple
weird.
Store.
I don't know why they do, but it's like a trend. It's a trendy thing. They're like, I don't want to play the game. I just want to watch this person play. It's like, okay, why don't you play the game yourself?
Can you wait until after this, and then I'll help you with that?
That's a lot of what they watch is YouTube. What age was he when he got a TV? I'd say probably 7.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably about 7.
But there's always like times.
Our daughter still doesn't have a TV in her room, and then our other boy had a TV in his room at 6. But he's never used his own thing. Other than like we got one of the little Nintendo consoles that has all the games preloaded on it.
Yeah, whatever. Just take one.
We got him a little Nintendo with all the games preloaded on it so that he could play that. Like I don't know your age, but if you remember like Mike Tyson's Punch Out, that's on it. That's super fun.
Super Mario.
Some of the early, Super Mario, some of the early Final Fantasies. That's what really got him into Super Mario. And then we ended up going to, he just slammed that door so hard. We ended up going to see both the Mario movies in theaters. They loved those. We loved them as well. They were really good. And TikTok 2 HMZ says, I'm thinking about getting him a curved TV to watch on the weekends. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a good idea. I don't think I know. Growing up, there was like a kind of a stigma on TVs, and I don't think it's that bad. Obviously, set limits for how long they're watching it. You don't want them just up in their room constantly watching TV, but we actually consider it family time too, because we'll watch like a lot of shows together. Like we watch inappropriate stuff, but that's if you don't like it, that's fine. That's your opinion. But we've watched
And
like
he means like horror, not
yeah, horror
not-
or like Righteous Gemstones, I would say is a little
Hmm.
inappropriate. Vice Principals, we watched both of those with Danny McBride. Comedy, it's fun, and Dexter. But we also have watched like The Chosen with them. So just getting the best of both worlds, I think. And also, I don't want to. She and I have never wanted to be the parents that like hide culture in the world from our children, because eventually they're going to encounter it. And as much as like we have Christians as friends that don't want their children around that, and if I'm being honest, I think some people don't let their kids stay the night at our houses because of that, because I think possibly they don't trust that like we'll let their kids watch stuff that they don't want them to watch. But and
and we would respect whatever rules that they.
did you buy something on Amazon?
Can I buy something on Amazon?
Yeah. Anyways,
Not
I'll check
lately.
it after this. Just remind me. Sorry, I think for Amazon came up, but what was I saying now? I got distracted by my pop-up for Amazon. But that's their opinion as well. They can raise their children however they want. I don't judge them for that, but I just, like I said, that's my opinion. My opinion is if you hide them from the world, one day they're going to encounter the world, and they're going to encounter it alone by themselves.
If your thing is shipped, they don't charge you until it's shipped. So maybe that whatever you bought on Amazon.
Okay, let me check it while you
Okay.
go ahead.
But yeah, and obviously, like if somebody were to come spend the night, if they were like, oh, we don't want them watching this or eating that or whatever, then I would respect that, because I don't ever want to be like, I don't ever want to step on a parent's toes, because I would want somebody to respect mine too. But yeah, we use it more as a reward too. So with iPad time, with TV time, most of it is a reward or something that we do together. It's not something we try not to do it to pacify kids, because I tell you what, when I give them a limit on tablets, yeah, they like whine at first, but they will quickly find ways to use their imaginations to play. They'll make up games. There was a game that they made up where they were a golf ball that they found on one of the soccer fields they brought back, and they were trying to roll it into a bucket, and they made up that game, and they enjoyed doing that for probably like an hour or so.
And we played it with them. We ended up playing it with them.
Yeah, so like kids will use their imaginations if you give them the chance to use it. Just like for example, like food too. Like kids will eventually start eating healthier food if you expose them to the
healthier food. Yeah, because our children really, they don't, especially like when it comes to sodas and stuff, they really don't, they waste sodas.
Yeah,
they'll like let soda
don't.
sit with soda in it, and I'm like, who is this? Because I just spilled it. And you are correct, TikTok 2HMZ. Right balance. That's what you want. You do want a right balance. But I also, sorry, I don't mean to just interrupt you and step over you. I also like this because when they encounter the world or they have questions about things, I like that she and I are there so that they can ask us about it, so that they're not alone. Because I'd rather them encounter stuff with us than encounter like horror, sexuality, stuff like that out there on their own.
I know people who also overexposed to cursing, violent TV and movies. Yeah, and we also try to remind them that things that are not real.
Yes.
So we remind them like this isn't real. This is like playing pretend. And well, I know for me, growing up, at 4 years old, I was watching Chucky and Nightmare on Elm Street, and yeah, I was a little scared back then, but it never made me a violent person.
And I remember watching, if you've never seen it, it's like 1980 something. So I was young, Night of the Demons. Oh. And it's funny now because listen, so I searched to try to find this movie. They have a remake of it now with Eddie Furlong in it, and what is the woman's name? Monica Keena. But they have a remake with them in it. Oh, I think Shannon Elizabeth's in it too, and Dior Baird. But anyways, they have a remake with them in it. But I wanted to find the original because I was like, oh, I just remember when I was little and this was like the scariest movie I've ever seen in my life because I was real little. And I mean, that has a lipstick and a breast scene, like she sticks it into her nipple, but the weird part, no blood. So that's why, like, so seeing it now, like, I was like, oh, we got to watch this. This is so scary. And I thought the kids would be scared of it too. And it was so tacky and so cheesy. And I was like, man, this was a lot scarier when I was little.
That's funny.
But now it's like so tacky because like you can tell that it's a fake breast because it's like wax and then no blood comes out. I was like, wait a minute. How was I scared of this when like no blood even comes out or anything? There are still some like terrifying parts in it, but it's like cheesy, tacky, kind of campy horror now. And they didn't think it was scary at all. Like they were like, "What's this, Dad? This is lame."
But yeah, quickly going back to the soda and stuff. Yeah, we don't have a lot of soda in the house right now. We do because of leftovers from the party, but just like our youngest daughter, her favorite snack all day long, can I have an apple and piece of cheese? Can I have an apple and piece of cheese? Like she will choose that over anything else. So it's one of those where like I see people, and I'm trying not to judge, but I see people on TikTok and Instagram and they're packing lunches or making breakfast for their kid and it's like Oreos and cheesies and all that stuff, and then they'll get negative comments in their comments, but they'll get defensive and are like, oh, well, at least I'm feeding them. Like I'm feeding them what they're going to eat. They're not going to eat anything else. Like, yeah, they will eat what you give them. You just have to keep giving them the healthier stuff.
So TikTok 2HMZ says some movies don't hold up with the graphics and effects and watching in higher refresh rates. I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely like a fuzzier quality, and definitely the effects like look real tacky now as opposed to back then you were like blown away by it. But now it's like, oh, this is obviously like plastic and fake stuff. But if you could in the comments list some of your favorites because I'm always interested. I'm a huge movie buff. We own like over 2,000 on our Vudu, and then I'd say physical copies I probably own. What do you think? Probably more like 3,000 or 4,000.
A lot.
Maybe even more than that. I don't know. We're huge movie buffs. But
Terminator 2 is still
Terminator 2 holds up, but that's because they did like I think that was like the beginning of CGI almost.
Yeah, I don't know if it is, but
I'm not sure.
I know that
but
it's
they did
amazing.
Really well,
and it still looks good.
I know Mercury too. Didn't they use Mercury in it?
I'd have to look that up. Maybe that would be something that I use for.
They put like Mercury on the film. Who knows? But yeah, that's a good idea. But speaking of research, that's something else we started with our kids for the summer. Every Saturday, we're going to do random research days. And so for the week, we study just a random topic. Like, for instance, this past yesterday, I did Albania because I was like, I don't know anything about Albania. Let's study because I'm going to do mine in alphabet. She did apple cider vinegar. Our oldest did dinosaurs and extinct animals. Lennox did bee venom because he stepped on a bee, so he was curious about bee venom. And Kemper right now we're just doing because she's still little. We're just doing a word and then she'll find a word. Yeah, spell the word out. For instance, she did caterpillar, and then she'll say words that start with each letter of the word because we're trying to get her to be able to read better. That way she can join in on the research because right now she just can't read. She's only 6, so.
Yeah, it's weird, and sorry, this is a little off topic, but it's strange because even her teacher was like kind of amazed by it, where he said her emotional intelligence is way beyond her years and she's very good at solving complex problems, but then when it comes to simple like reading or sounding out words or remembering the sounds of the letters, she struggles, which I thought that was interesting too. So we're really going to focus on that. But I thought that was interested that she can figure out complex things, but the simple ones she struggles with. Go ahead.
And TikTok 2 says, I'm the stricter parent and I will give less choices for nourishment. 9 out of 10, he will complain, and then after 2 bites or so, he eats with no problem. Yeah, exactly, and that's generally what you get. And I was big on saying to her when they were real little, they'll eat when they're hungry. If you turn into the parent, and this is no judgment either, like I try not to judge parents because it's not easy to parent. And especially with how much you love your children, the number one thing you want to do is just make them happy all the time, but that's a problem too.
Mhm.
But so I was really big in the beginning on waiting until they're hungry and then they'll eat. Because if you turn into the parent that just goes, well, they're not eating this, so I'll give them this instead, then you're becoming part of the problem, not part of the solution. You're giving in to them and going, all right, well, you want Oreos, so that's what you're going to have all the time.
Mhm.
Here's Oreos for breakfast. Here's Oreos for lunch. And then people are wondering why their children are, 9
Unhealthy
years old and 180 pounds.
But that reminds me of back when our middle child Lennox was around 2. I went to the doctors and she was asking about his eating and stuff, and I was like, well, that's kind of one of my concerns. He like never wants to eat dinner. He takes like 2 bites of each thing and then he doesn't want to eat it. And I was like, but I refuse to make him something separate, because my mom used to do that to me. I love my mother, God bless her. But she would kind of give in to me where I wouldn't eat, and then she'd make me something separate
She had
than
a good
everybody else.
childhood.
And then I got
Her
super
mom loved her.
picky. I got super picky about what I ate. So like and that's what it was. But the pediatrician was like, good for you. No, don't give in. He will eat when he's hungry. He's fine. He might not even be on the same schedule as you guys are, because that 3 meals a day at a certain time, snacking at a certain time, that not everybody needs that certain schedule. So like he will eat when he's hungry and he's thriving. So everything turned out okay.
And TikTok says, but my wife gives into it right away and gives another choice immediately. And that's tough, I don't know what the answer to is that. I mean, I would at least hope that you guys talk about it with each other. And because if we ever have issues like that, because again, she's the stricter parent, I am a little more lenient. I generally just will let her bring on the strictness over me. Yeah, and I'll back her up. Unless they start like back talking her or there becomes an issue that way, then Dad jumps in pretty strict. Because the number one thing that I want most out of my kids when I'm raising them is respect for their mother, and respect for their mother and their father first, and then respect for other adults second. Because I also teach them that if you want to question authority, that's okay too. I'm big on that. I get that from Jordan Peterson, because you need people who are brave and people who have courage that are willing to stand up against authority. Because if you don't have that, then you run into a society that turns into a dictatorship, because everybody just is willing to fall in line. So, and it's funny because like listening to his podcast and listening to him and reading his books, I never considered that. So growing up, I was always a yes man. I was always like,
me too.
Yeah, I'll do whatever you need me to do. I'll do my homework. I'll do whatever whenever you need it. And I never thought that there was value in a person like that. But now after listening to him and all of that, I recognize it in my own brain, like putting 2 and 2 together, that, yeah, we do need that. And I can recognize how easily we can fall into a society where it's led by a dictator and nobody wants to ask questions. And unfortunately, I think right now, this is off topic, I know, but unfortunately, I think right now America's headed in that direction, because I don't think we have enough brave people who want to stand up against authority. I think the majority of people are just like, as long as it doesn't affect my life, I'm okay with it. But the problem is, if you let it snowball, eventually it will affect your life. And the unfortunate thing is, by time then, it's too late.
We also are very good at apologizing and explaining and saying sorry for how to react sometimes. And I think that's important, because growing up, it was just, oh, mom and dad know best. But I'm okay admitting like I don't know that answer, and I don't know if this is right, and I'm sorry for doing this. This is why it happens. We have a thing on there that said some comments in this live were filtered. So if you commented and it was filtered and we're responding, we didn't see it.
And then TikTok to HMZ also said, I mean, it's funny because there are other things that I just don't have the patience for. And I hear that a lot too. And I agree. That's one thing where we kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? We balance each other. That's what I'm looking for, and benefit each other, because there are things she's not patient with that I am, and things that I'm not patient with that she is.
I'm one of those where like if it gets too loud, that like is too much for me a lot, and I never used to be like that, but I don't know.
Overstimulated.
Yeah, and I don't know. I don't like using that because I feel like that's an excuse sometimes that I don't feel like using that. But yeah, it's overstimulation, I think. But I'm very sensitive to sounds and smells after getting pregnant, so maybe it's just like one of those things that just changed as I got older. But he can drown them out. He can drown them out, and
It's
I'm just
easy.
like I can't because.
And I think also part of it though is because I grew up in a household of 4
Mm.
people, and this isn't
4 siblings.
obviously this isn't 4 siblings, and this obviously isn't a dig towards you, but you definitely you grew up a lot more alone,
Yes.
and you've admitted that even on here. But I grew up with a lot of siblings, so it was my household, especially when we were real little, before everybody started going off to do their own things. It was always loud. I grew up in a very loud household that was survival of the fittest, loud survival of the fittest. So if you weren't loud, also you weren't heard. So because that's even something that I brought up on this podcast, where with the mics and stuff, sometimes, excuse me, I'll come off really loud, and I'm like, I'm sorry. And I've had even people say like, this guy is really loud. Can you turn your mic down or whatever? And I'm like, I'm sorry. The problem is that like in my household that I grew up in, and I know that's an excuse, but in the household that I grew up in, if you weren't loud, you weren't heard. And then also my memory is so bad that if I don't say something right away, I will completely forget what it is.
That's true, because I have to remember things for him.
And that's not an excuse either. I know there's a big feminist movement of like, when women will say, because I've seen videos on this where women will be like, no, it's an excuse, and he does this, and the reason that he continues to do it is because you keep treating him like a baby, and then you remember the stuff that he needs you to remember.
Oh.
But no, literally, I will not remember it. And sometimes she even forgets it, and we're both like, oh yeah, we both forgot.
Look,
but I don't like yell at her and go like,
No.
oh, you should have remembered this for me. I'll just be like, oh, dang it.
oh,
Dang it, I'm a
nuts.
chopped
Also, we have admitted to each other and learned that we're a little bit codependent.
Yeah.
So I like to be needed. I don't need to be needed, but I like it. I like that I can remember things. And also it doesn't like put any more pressure on me than anything else, because I remember things for the kids too. That's just, and I remember things and get things done that he doesn't even know is happening until it's done. So like it's just one of those things, like I'm like a manager. But it's also like the woman is like the manager of the household. The man
Women,
is the
it's
leader.
because women are better at multitasking.
Very
They are.
much so.
Just
Yeah.
way better. And I actually was going to bring up the definition of codependence because I heard this on Theo Vaughn's podcast, and it kind of shocked me because I always thought codependence was like you need someone else or else you can't survive, stuff like that. No. It's actually the definition from what this guy said, Dr. Scott Galloway, I think it was. He said, no, the definition of codependence, and I might be incorrect on the doctor, but I know it was a doctor. But the definition of codependence is you need to do something to benefit others to feel value in yourself. You have no self-worth. And I was like, oh, see, I never knew that. I thought it was just like you need to be with somebody or you're just constantly miserable and depressed and unhappy. But it's not that at all. It's actually you have no self-worth. You have no value in yourself. You only value yourself if you're benefiting someone else, helping someone else, or working towards a goal that benefits someone else.
Yeah, and that just kind of just happens to correlate with that.
Yeah,
because if you're
and
not-
with us.
Yeah, because because we grew up very similarly, which is interesting because he's the middle child and I'm the youngest. So it's very interesting how we grew up.
And yeah, it's weird to me because like
Yeah.
in my family, the youngest is the baby, and like that's the star child. It's like no, we need to always be with her and always be with her kids. And no offense to her if she ends up watching this or listening to this, but like everything's about her and focused around her. So I found it so weird that like with her it wasn't that way. That it like
No.
wasn't like
And
completely
I don't-
focused around her.
And I don't know
And
if
it shouldn't be like that either.
No. And I don't know if it's because I think the age gap between my sisters and myself is pretty significant. My middle sister is 5 years older than me, and my oldest is 7 years older than me. And so they're closer in age. So I think that I was like maybe a whoopsie. and so and also like things happened as I was still young, like my parents divorced and stuff like that, and they were pretty young parents compared to us. I was 13 when my mom turned 40, and I'm 40 right now, and I have kids 10 and under. So she also got married and got pregnant really young, so she was kind of like reliving the years that she missed. So like I try not to feel resentment towards that because of the fact that like I don't know, she had a chance to kind of do things over. But also it had me kind of figuring things out on my own basically.
And TikTok 2HMZ says, I can relate to so much of what you're both saying. I think the memory thing is more common with people than you would think. And I would imagine that too. And I actually,
that's a
as sexist as this sounds, I think it would be more on the male side as well. I think that more men than women have memory issues. But I wanted to relate also a little bit to what you were saying about your mom. I think that's a little bit of what my mom is going through as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think because my mom had kids really young, got married really young. And I think that's why she like drinks and stuff now is it's like, oh, well, it's party time now. My kids are all grown and out of the house. Yeah. And I also don't blame her for that. But thank you also so much, TikTok 2HMZ for
engaging. Yeah.
Engaging. Yes, we really appreciate all the engagement from everybody. And feel free also to share like a little bit about your upbringing as well. I like to get to know other people and to listen to their stories as well. And make sure to follow us. That way you can come back and join another conversation whenever we get on again. We do this every week. But like I said, well, other than earlier, we said we missed 2 weeks. But
we try to do it every week. Summertime is going to be a little bit more lax, I think, just because we want to, like I said, try to do a bunch of stuff family-wise as much as we can.
And TikTok 2HMZ says, most people wouldn't admit how many times they walk into a room and forget what they came for. And, absolutely.
Well, I was going to say, too, that's actually an effect of trauma as well, memory loss. So like also if you're growing up, you don't remember a lot of the stuff or remember a lot of your growing up, that is actual trauma.
Yeah, because Theo talked about when he did, what is it, ketamine? I believe it was ketamine that he did. I'm sorry if I can't say that. Special K, because it is Special K, right? I believe. But he did that, and you like sit in a chair, and there's like a counselor there with you and stuff. And he said it actually unlocked some core memories from childhood. And I was like, that's kind of nuts. That like, and it was because like it helped unravel some of his trauma and his stress, which allowed him to remember things better. And I was like, that's kind of cool. But I don't know if I'd be interested in doing it though, because he was like talking about weird stuff in it. Like he was part of a video game, and then he was stuck in a corner. I don't know. But I also was going to bring up, this is a funny one, how many times I've forgotten where my phone was at while on the phone. Like I'm talking to my brother, and I'm like talking to my wife, and I'm like, where did I sit my phone at? Because he's talking at the time, so I'm not paying attention to talking back to him. And she'd be like, it's in your hand. And I'm like, oh, I'm on the phone with my brother. Because like I'm going to like look at a note or look at what time it is or whatnot, like back when I didn't have my Fitbit. And it's pretty funny just forgetting random stuff like that.
And if anybody is watching, follow TikTok 2HMZ.
Yes.
Give him a follow. And he says, bro, when I was young at parties, there was so many people who shared issues, kind of trauma bonding. Yeah. And I think we kind of trauma bond a little bit too. Which that's one of the things I kind of like about our relationship, because we help each other to like process things that have happened to us, and we try to be understanding of our reactions to things, but we're trying very, very hard to not make it an excuse to how we act. We're trying very hard to change that, to break that cycle, because at some point in your life, especially as an adult, you need to realize that, yes, this thing happened to me. Yes, it has affected me in this way, but I do have the choice and I do have the control to start changing it.
And also I can relate to that because I've been to parties where actually I think that's where I lost some of my friends, is because we trauma bonded, but then I moved on from my traumas and quit like the narcotics, because I think we could say that, not the D
Yeah.
word, narcotics and the drinking, and I quit a lot of that. And they didn't want to quit that; they wanted to stay in that lifestyle and stay in the trauma, I guess, so to speak.
Or even stay in using that as a coping mechanism to erase or to cope with that, which is not healthy. So some of the things that we do to cope is, me and I just like, we do family runs with the kids. We've recently started doing strength training. Then we wind down to some movies or TV, or we started doing the research, which I really thought the kids would be resistant to it, but they seem to be really engaged and interested, and they asked questions. We got a chance to ask questions for everybody who did their oral presentation, and it's just, those things are the very really simple things really do help with overcoming stress and anxiety and depression, or whatever you may be going through, or whatever trauma you may have gone through. And I know for sure that there have been worse traumas that people have gone through than what I have. So I never try to compare what I went through, and never try to say that somebody's worse off. It's just a different experience.
Yeah. And physical health is closely linked to mental health.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
Something that like Jordan Peterson would talk about and stuff like that. But he TikTok 2 HMZ also says it can be difficult to raise kids in a society when we have more pull from all directions than ever.
Yes.
And I agree with that also. You never know what you're doing right and what you're doing wrong. And as a parent, we are always stuck in that constant dread of, am I doing enough? Am I doing right? Am I doing enough?
Am I causing
right?
trauma to them?
Am I making it worse? And especially in, as you said, today's society, we I can relate that to like coaching. It's so hard to coach because you don't know what you can say, what you can't say. Like you want them to suffer a little bit. You want to toughen them up a little bit and you want them to fail. You really do. You want your child to fail because they need to know what it feels like to fail and how to overcome failure and move forward from that failure.
Yes. What did Christy say about losing that you thought was really
that
good?
I really like that she said, losing is all part of the game, and losing is part of life.
And it's part of teamwork.
Because you're not going to win everything.
Yeah, you win as a team, you lose as a team, and that's how life is. I mean, as much as we want to protect our kids from anything that would ever break their hearts, we also want to be realistic, because as adults, if they have been coddled their whole life, the moment that
they do fail,
the moment they get fired, the moment their boss yells at them for making a mistake, the moment they have to go to the grocery store and buy their own groceries and everything's so expensive, they're going to lose their minds and have a breakdown like a toddler.
Yeah, and it'll be really expensive then. And TikTok 2 HMZ said, fail successfully.
Yes.
Exactly. That's exactly what you want to teach them, how to fail successfully and how to not give up, persevere, and fight through it.
And to figure it out.
Because the last thing you want to do is like have your child just being like I am. No, I say that seriously because I used to be like this, really, really bad. One thing would go wrong and I'd be like, I'm worthless. I'm terrible. I suck. I'm the worst person to ever live. God hates me. The family would be better off without me. She should just go find another man because he'll be better for the kids and her. And it would just snowball into this how terrible I am. And that's the last thing I want my kids to think about themselves. And actually, that goes into Jordan Peterson and something that he teaches you. Treat yourself like you're someone that you're taking care of. Like, so I shouldn't be talking about myself like that and shouldn't be beating myself up and so negative on myself over just simply making mistakes, which everybody does and everybody's going to do. I don't know where I got this. Theo talks about this often. I don't know where I got this view of like having to be perfect. And I think it comes from like a childhood, and I think it comes from my trauma and thinking that I'm not valuable to anybody when I make mistakes, and I'm not valuable to anybody unless I have something to give them and have something to provide for them. There's this sadness to it, to not being able to recognize that like you're still, sorry, and not being able to recognize that you're still loved and valued just the way you are.
Mm-hmm.
And now that's not to say, because it can go wrong the other way also. It can go wrong the other way to where it's like, oh, I don't care. I'm loved just the way I am, and
So
I'm
I'm
perfect
not
just
gonna
the way I am.
improve.
So I don't need to
Yeah.
improve or change anything. Because that's one of the problems that I've had in Christianity with the back and forth between salvation in Jesus Christ and works. I've always had a little bit of difficulty in the balance in the relationship between those two things, because I'm like, yeah, but if it's like, no matter what, once you're saved through Jesus Christ, it doesn't matter because you're saved, then it's tough for me. It's difficult because then I'm like, yeah, but then I could just lay in bed and be like, I'm not doing anything because I'm saved. I don't care. I don't care. I can live however I want. I can do whatever I want. I'm saved, blah, 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 whatever. But so it's difficult. And if you're having issues with that, you just got to read your Bible and because you want to, I think the trick to it is, obviously Jesus Christ saves you, and the blood of Jesus is what is going to bring us to heaven. Like he said, Granny, is that your great grandson? Anyways.
Oh, am I old?
I don't know.
look
We're
like-
both old, I guess.
Yeah, this is my grandson.
This is grandma. Anyways, what was I saying? Oh, but while we are saved through the
Let me
grace
mix my glasses.
through the grace of Jesus, it's the Dahmers. While we are saved through grace through Jesus Christ and the blood of Christ, you still want to at least try to make the world a better place, and you want to try to live a life that is more Christ-like. And I guess it kind of goes with Romans, renewing of your mind. A guy I went to church with spoke about that all the time, because when Jesus Christ comes into you and comes into your heart and you're saved, it will renew your mind naturally, and you'll want to naturally do things to help others. And it really does. And I mean, the more you work on it, the more it does work.
I also like what our old Pastor Bixler said about baptism, where he said, when you are saved and accept Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior, you are accepting him as your Lord. And then the baptism is where you're making a promise to strive to live more Christ-like. Of course, we're never going to be perfect. We're always going to make mistakes. But I know personally for me, and I was just telling you the other day, because one of my biggest sins is judging others. And so I noticed that as I pray more about it, it starts to get easier. So in the past, when my natural reaction would have been to like say something in my head about judging somebody, the other day it was just like a blank nothing in my head. So I was like, oh, that's progress. So like it's a work in progress, constant work in progress. And I feel as though if you are recognizing it and want to make that change, that is something that is living more Christ-like, wanting to make the change, not just being like, whatever, I'm gonna sin because I'm saved. So
yes, and not beating yourself up when you fall back into it, and
Yes.
fighting to get
and
back out of it.
ask for forgiveness and also forgiving yourself.
Because I've spoken on here about my issues before with corn and lust and things like that, and it's just constantly a work in progress. Work. So I'll never be perfect. Romans, there's not one righteous, no, not one. But if you want, we can move on to which kid is your clone. That's correct. TikTok 2HMZ life. That's life.
Yeah,
life is just
absolutely.
constantly growing and constantly trying to do better.
And I feel like if you're actually wanting to do better, that is something in itself. Because there's going to be setbacks. It's just like somebody in recovery. You're going to have relapses. The most important thing is to not give up and to think about what caused that relapse and to make a change, evaluate, and figure it out how to get better.
And I'm not saying this as an excuse either, but I also have to give myself a little credit, because in the society that we live in nowadays with the technology that we have, my struggle, I need to grant myself a little grace for me, in that my struggle is going to be a lot harder because we have everything's right at our fingertips. We have everything right there. But it's tough. I don't want my kids to suffer from that. And I don't know. That's one thing that I'm dreading, the teenage years and having to try to explain all of this.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess the nice thing out of it, that the Lord has done for me is I have struggled through it and continue to struggle through it at times. Some days are better than others. So I at least have lived the experience to be able to talk to the kids, to be able to be like, look, I've been through this. I know the things that are going to, what's the word I'm looking for? Destroy your soul, the things that are going to start to tear you apart from the inside, that darkness and that black, like, ugh, for lack of a better term. And TikTok 2HMZ says, I can say, just be open and honest about changes you're trying to make. Yes. And that's one thing that drew me so easily to Theo Von. And let other people give you patience and help you achieve your goals. I agree with that as well.
Have patience on yourself, for yourself too.
Yes. And that's what drew me to Theo Von so magnetically and so strong, with such a strong draw to him, is that he's so open about his life and his struggle with the exact same things I've struggled with. A lot of times I'll be listening to him and I'm like, man, this is so weird how similar we are. Like, because I'm very impatient too. And the other day he brought this up. He was saying that he was like, man, I'm so impatient. I'll be at a urinal and I'll flush it halfway through because I'm just like, man, I ain't got time to finish and then flush it. And I'm like, man, I do that all the time. Just weird, just random stuff. But just because, I'm in a hurry, I got to get going.
Speeding.
Yeah, speeding because he speeds. But yeah,
okay.
Impatient.
What kid is our clone?
Yeah, we're going to move on to which kid is our clone. I would say, so our oldest Kiefer, he is my clone for, like, when I was a child, he looks exactly like I did as a child, except he's got blue eyes. He's got his mom's eyes. But personality, I mean, I don't know. Actually, I would say personality-wise too. Because I was pretty, at the time I was like funny, but I was pretty shy and timid, but I was also okay with like being in my own little world. But unfortunately, I think the thing that I struggle with that is, I think part of that also was my childhood and my upbringing. I think there just wasn't anybody there. Sorry. Who do you think?
Well, our daughter,
TikTok 2HMZ says, just don't skip washing your hands in public restrooms. And I agree. Yeah. The worst actually, I'll let you go right after this. The worst actually is when you see someone come out of a stall and not wash. I'm just like, oh, bro, come on, bro. God.
So our daughter, I think people say that she looks like me. I guess she's my
I definitely agree with that.
But our middle child, our son, his attitude is me for sure. Especially when he's like trying to tell the other ones to do something. He sounds exactly like me. Or if the things that annoy him or the things that annoy me. And I think that's why we haven't been doing it that often, that much lately though, but sometimes we'll clash. But I think that's why, because we have the same attitude. But I also think he looks like him, like adult
as an
version.
adult. Yeah, he doesn't look like me as a kid though. And TikTok 2HMZ says, just don't, or well, I already read that one. He says also, I see it a lot in men's rooms. Yeah, I see people who don't wash their hands.
Well, I think yeah.
I went to a Packers game, a Green Bay Packers game, and I saw some craziness at that game in the restrooms. Craziness, because obviously, like, you know, during a quarter break or halftime or anything like that, everybody rushes to the bathrooms. And this isn't a lie. People were dropping deuces in the trash can, like sitting on the trash can, dropping a deuce. And I was just like, this is absolute insanity. Yeah, I mean, when you got to go, but that's craziness. And the hand sanitizer is almost non-existent anymore. That's true as well.
Yeah.
And I hate with a passion hand dryers. I just hate it. Just put some paper towels in there, because all hand dryers doing is I'm just drying it on my pants and going about my day, because impatient. I don't have time.
They don't really dry your hands anyway.
Store provided anyway. Yeah. Yeah. It was really bad during the C19 era.
Yeah.
Oh my word. We were like trying to find it. I'm like, you can't find it anywhere.
Well, we just keep, like, you have one in the car, don't you?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I have wipes in my
truck.
I have wipes in my purse. So like if soccer, there's sometimes no toilet paper in the outhouses and stuff, or the sanitizer's out.
Yeah, we ran into that. So now we're keeping baby
wipes, and we're prepared a little bit.
Yeah, always be prepared, people. Always be prepared. Keep some baby wipes or some napkins in your car, because you never know when you're going to need it. So that's some advice. Advice from us here at Together Out Loud.
And clean underwear, they say,
keep clean. Well, you don't keep clean underwear, but
that's
wipes, baby wipes, and napkins, tissues, whatever. But yeah, so those are the kids that are our clones, and I agree with you on that. Lennox definitely he definitely has your outbursts at times. I did want to bring up something though, just that I saw recently on a JP Sears video, just because I wanted to bring this up because Dan's always coming up here, and if he watches this or listens to this, I'd like to know his opinion on this. So DJT, Donald J. Trump, has added $4 billion to his net worth through insider trading. So this is for anybody who's MAGA or anybody who still thinks that all of our dreams are being accomplished and every wish is coming true.
We're not Democrats, by the way.
No, yeah, we're not leftists either. We're neither. Now we voted for Trump, but that's besides the point. I just wanted to bring that up because if he watches this or listens to it, I just want to know, Dan, if you're watching or listening to this, what do you think of that? What is your opinion on adding $4 billion to his net worth through insider trading that we can't do because our government's a joke? But anyways, TikTok 2HNZ says we ended up buying ISO alcohol and filling mini nail polish containers from Dollar Store during C19.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, a lot of people were making their own homemade ones because I know you could make homemade.
Yeah.
I think it's actually just aloe and rubbing alcohol is what a lot of the ingredients on some are to make it so your hands don't dry out. Because I think I looked it up and because we were interested at one point.
Yeah, because we thought we ordered some on Amazon and then it was a scam.
Oh yeah. Because it never came.
Showed up and it was that.
And Answer Seeking Channel says I'm playing Legend of Zelda right now. That's
nice.
Cool. I didn't get too far into Zelda. I was Last of Us fan.
There's a movie coming out
for Zelda.
I think so.
Yeah. Because don't they have? Isn't the dude playing the princess? Hunter.
Oh, I think that was
hopefully that's a lie.
I think that was a rumor.
Yeah, it was rumored that
I don't know
Hunter Schafer was going to play Zelda. That dude. Which whatever, I don't care.
Whatever.
I misgendered him. Whatever it is, I don't know. But yeah, I just wanted to bring that up. I'm happy that this person is playing Zelda. Like I said, I really enjoyed The Last of Us. That was like still to this day one of my favorite games. That's why I have all like Last of Us tattoos, Fedra, stuff like that. I only mentioned it because of the neck tattoo. Oh, this right here actually is a firefly from The Last of Us. But I don't know if it's something off Zelda as well. But yep, that is a firefly off The Last of Us. But
yeah, and he has a sleeve of...
Yeah, and I have a sleeve like Ellie's there and Fedra and Ellie and Joel together, a clicker. And then I have Ellie right here. You can see part of her on the sides of it. But yeah, actually, I think that was at some point, I think just this part was something off Zelda. But I can't remember. It's been so long since I played any of those. I actually really like The Last of Us 2. Awesome. That's what Answer Seeking Channel said. Yeah, I thought it was an amazing video game, and thank you for bringing it up. I love talking about it with people. That's true. That's the Firefly emblem. Yep. Yeah, and it's got like, it's kind of dripping. I made it so that it looks like it's spray painted on. That's how I had my artist do it. So I kind of like it.
Which, yeah, shout out.
Shout out to
South Main Tattoo.
Yeah, South Main Tattoo.
Yeah.
If anybody needs some good tattoo work, South Main Tattoo is where to get it done because he's amazing. He's really good. But and also make sure to follow Answer Seeking Channel. That way you can come back and have some conversations. If you missed it earlier, we always talk about this. The main point of this channel is to just help people that are lonely and don't have anyone to talk to, and to just have open, honest.
I'm checking the
birds. Open, honest conversations with people, and to talk about whatever topic people want. So that way, like, because I mean, a lot of channels like dedicate themselves to something, and I know maybe we should do that because it makes more sense. But I'm more like, if you have a topic, bring it up and we'll talk about it, and maybe we'll learn something because maybe we don't know anything about it, or maybe we do know stuff about it, and we'll have a conversation. And Answer Seeking Channel says you should make the stencil and just go around the city just tagging it up. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
That would be awesome.
And TikTok 2HMZ says Odyssey energy drinks have cordyceps.
Ooh.
Oh, cool.
Not cool.
Like what? Like a real cordyceps though? Or well, I didn't know what he means. Explain, please. Like the real cordyceps inside it, or like on the can? I thought he meant like they have like Last of Us.
Energy drinks are bad news bears. They're not good for you.
I don't really drink a lot of energy drinks anyway. I wasn't a fan of like Red Bull. I know a lot of people do like Red Bull Jaeger shots and stuff, and I was like, It's mid.
No, thank you.
But if you want to start going back a little bit over the past 10 years that we've been together.
Yeah, 10 years, lessons learned. So lesson for me is not everything is simply black and white. And the more you invest in a relationship, the more
Oh, it's in the ingredients, he says. He says, I don't know how they isolate it, but it's in the ingredients.
oh, that's interesting.
I wonder if it's
and
like a, but it might not be a harmful one though, because I think they say that there are some cordyceps that are good for you.
You'll have to research
I'm not
that.
100% on that. Maybe that's something I could research.
But yeah, I learned that not everything is black and white, and the more you invest in a marriage, the more you realize that there are some things that you can compromise with, and some things that you can forgive that you didn't think you could before until you're actually in the thick of it. That's my lesson.
And Answer Seeking Channel said, I took some last week. You took some of the energy drink? I hope not, man. Hopefully you're not infected. Hopefully you're not patient zero.
Well, there's something else I think.
He said it's happening.
Oh, it's happening. Yeah,
that's awesome. I wouldn't mind. No, I'm kidding. I'm joking. I'm happy with society. So happy. I'm ecstatic. What I have learned over the past 10 years of marriage is I've definitely learned that like you gotta, oh no, the shrooms, LOL. Yeah, I haven't in a long time, not since my late teens. But I've learned that you really got to work together. You got to work through flaws. I definitely learned like don't end things so easily over things that are very small and simple, because like a lot of people are like looking for perfection in life, and I think actually today in today's society that's a huge problem we have between men and women is everybody like wants perfect, and I think that these things don't help. Technology doesn't help. And so I'm going to read this as well. Answer Seeking Channel says, I'm at my wife in high school. She's actually the first person I met. Oh, I met my wife in high school. She's actually the first person I met. That's awesome. Good for you. I always think it's cool when people have the stories of like high school sweethearts and then they get married and have a family together and stuff like that. We did not. We met later in life.
Well, technically we met when I was in middle school, but we
got together later in life because she was
30s.
friends with my sister growing up. But that's one thing I learned, and I think, like I said, technology doesn't really help it a lot. They've proven that dating apps don't help it because I actually just heard a guy on YouTube say, if you take 100 men and 100 women and you put them all on Tinder, 96 of the women are going to date the top 4% of men, so the other 96 men are going to be fighting over the top 4 or the bottom 4% of women. We got married when we were 22. I had just gotten out of the military. Good for you, and thank you for your service. Which branch, if you don't mind my asking? That's life. That's right, man. Mm-hmm. That's right. And please make sure to follow so you can come back and engage some more. I'm always happy when people engage, like Air Force. Good. I don't know if obviously you probably didn't serve with them. The chances of that would be low, but that's what Tyler Zed was in. He has a channel called Zeducation on YouTube. I'm plugging that for him. Yeah. We haven't watched it in a while though, but we used to just love watching it because he just plays memes. But sorry, we love you, Tyler. But we got his book. His book's super good as well. His book is amazing.
Yeah.
But it's about his life and his brother stabbing his dad. It's crazy. Sorry, I know I can't say stabbing. Doing that. he did a thingy with a sharp object. Anyways. But he does memes, and then we stopped watching it. Slowly, we started like fading away from it because he would just talk so much.
Yeah.
I said, blah, 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 and we're like, Tyler,
just show us
the memes, bro. Show us the funny stuff. TikTok 2HMZ says dating apps, all of that based on surface level stuff. Yes, it is, and it's even just like Instagram, Facebook, stuff like that. Answer Seeking Channel says I've seen my fair share of blowing up and stuff, but yes, yeah, and everybody puts out their best like persona. Actually, Theo was just talking to that Galloway, and they were talking about it a little bit, like how people, it's fake. It's not a real. The people you see on there are not a real person.
And there's like filters now, and people getting plastic surgery done, even younger, and
looking older because of it.
So like you can make yourself look different. That's why I don't get offended by whoever said grandma and my grandson, because
Yeah, that's
I don't have a
Granny.
filter on, so
That's
whatever.
Granny. Yeah, it's good. That's good. A natural beauty. Answer Seeking Channel says I'm a pacifist now, and that's good.
Yeah,
I mean, that's to each their own. I
I'm kind of
support
leaning
all.
towards that.
Yeah, I just
too.
kind of want to be like, I don't care. I'm over it all. But if you don't mind, also, I'm going to ask, how long did you serve? I study psychology. All I want to do is help people. Now, that's good. That's actually
awesome,
something, yeah, definitely follow, because I appreciate that. That's something that I have gotten into ever since I started reading a lot on Jordan Peterson. 4 years. Well, again, thank you for your service. But when I started reading a lot about Jordan Peterson, that's what I wanted to do. And that's what actually made me start volunteering with soccer and coaching and stuff like that too, as I just want to help society as much as I can now. Especially the lack of encouragement in men. I never had a single word of encouragement growing up.
And the separation in the community, like people are so separate now because of these things.
Because of technology, and it's like, I can just get a hold of you on here. But TikTok 2HMZ says, what percent of people on dating apps read or learn what questions to ask to get to know people? Yeah, it's nuts. I don't know.
I'm just happy that I don't have to date.
Well, yeah, I'm happy that I don't have to date too. I worry about my boys though growing up, because I think I don't know though. I don't think it benefits anyone. And yeah, you're pretty much raising yourself. I agree with that. Answer Seeking Channel. Like, and I don't blame. I don't like try to pity myself either. I don't label myself a victim. I don't go like, oh, boo-hoo, it's all my parents' fault, because I think that they did their best with what they had. But I do also agree that they could have done better. I don't think that they tried fully. I think that they could have tried harder, definitely. But
we're still here.
Oh, we're doing a puzzle thing. But I agree with you. Yeah, you are pretty much raising yourself. But I do like the fact that, like, here I am in my 40s learning all kinds of still learning. And that's also part of life, is that important. You'll never stop learning, you'll never stop growing. Answer Seeking Channel says, I love that we're still here. Me too.
I agree with TikTok.
TikTok says, I think men should support men the way you see women prop other women up. Mm-hmm. I agree with that as well. I think that we have an epidemic of that, of people not supporting. And actually, I'm going to take that back. I think it depends on where you look, because there are good people out there. Like, I say that because, like, I think that was part of my trauma and part of my upbringing is my parents definitely raised me and my 3 siblings to, like, be afraid of everyone. Like, they just really made it seem like everybody's out to get you, and every guy will step over your dead body, unalived body, to get ahead in life and to get ahead of you. But growing and learning, I found out that it's not quite that, like, it's not that crazy. I mean, I don't know the percentage I'd give it. It's 50-50 maybe, but there are definitely people out there who are willing to help. And also, if you're just honest and you just say, like, hey, I don't know how to do this, can you help me out with this? Or I don't know about this, can you help me out with this? A lot of men are really good with mentoring, and men really do, I think, want to teach others, like, their trades and stuff. For instance, for example, when you brought me for our anniversary to go flying and I wanted to learn how to fly, the guy, Michael, who was teaching me, he's ex-military, and he really was just like, he just really personified like mentorship. Like, I could tell inside him, like, he really wanted me to succeed and me to learn. And it was pretty cool. It was a great experience.
And I just want to comment on that too. Women supporting other women. I think women should also not be afraid to call out other women when they feel like they are wrong. And I think that is a problem today. And I also think it's a problem today that I think some women are kind of fake in their support. And I say that because women are, as a woman, I know they're competitive. They're very competitive in a mean way. Men are kind of competitive in a way that they want to, like, encourage you to be better, whereas some women are not like that. They just want to see you fail.
And TikTok 2HMZ says, seems like isolated to things like going to the same gym. And then Answer Seeking Channel says, I was scrolled up. I was raised by women, and I was always taught to be, like, the best at everything. See, I would have appreciated that growing up. But see, different sides of the fence. Because I was raised with like zero encouragement. I was raised to quit everything and give up on everything if I didn't like get my way, I guess, so to speak. It's super stressful. TikTok says, yeah, I see that too. And Answer Seeking Channel says, I kind of let my daughter do whatever she wants, and she is amazingly artistic. That's kind of cool. I like that.
Mhm.
And also says, I wish that part of my childhood was nurtured.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was one thing. See, with me, I think I was nurtured. I think I was over nurtured in some ways, and then not nurtured enough in other ways, if that makes sense. Like, I don't think that I was fully, completely loved. And thank you guys also so much for engaging, because
Thank
like
you.
this is
good
healing. This is
conversation.
healing for all of us.
Yeah.
And it's a great conversation. And these are the conversations that I aim to have and want to have. So I pray for you guys, and I hope that you guys, what's the word I'm looking for? Persevere in life and get everything that you want out of life, and that you find peace. That's one of the best things, man, to find peace. And I don't know if either of you are Christians either, but that's where I found my peace, is in Jesus. So if you're not, pick up a Bible and just read it a little bit, if you're interested in it. And if you are, that's awesome as well. No judgment here. I try not to judge people on their beliefs or anything like that, but that's just where I found my personal peace, and still am finding, because it's a process of finding peace and a process of growth and a process of finding who I truly am. And also thank you guys for engaging, for the fact that it helps me to get my thoughts and my emotions out as well. So thank you guys.
And that was part of
I'm grateful for you guys.
That's part of the reason why we kind of started this too, because we wanted positivity and an outlet for people to have somebody to listen to, especially nowadays. Like I said, we're so separated. So we want to try to use social media as something good.
Yeah, to help people.
To connect.
Yeah, and that's why she said earlier also, like, if you follow us and you come back up as well, we'll do interviews sometimes too, but we're not going to sit here and say tap the screen or send us gifts or anything like that, because that's not why we're doing this. We're genuinely doing this because we genuinely want to help people. Because she and I feel we both have our own personal traumas that we are still healing from, and we want to help people that also have those similar traumas. And thank you for the follow. And I will follow you back on my personal page so that you'll have a follower as well. But Answer Seeking Channel says, I'm a Christian and you sound like you're pretty well off. It's an uphill battle. I agree. I'm writing your name down quick so that I can follow you back. Yeah, it definitely is an uphill battle. I agree with you on that. It's difficult, but especially like if you had known me 10 years prior, she can admit it. Like I was very nihilistic and very like, even as a Christian, just very like hopeless, nihilistic. That's why, I mean, I'll admit 100%, I'm one of those people. I need Jesus. I need Jesus in my life, because if I don't have him, I'm just like, there's no point. Let me just end it. We go up to Canada where it's legal and be done with it all. But there's definitely.
Thank you for engaging, Answer. We'll both follow you on our personal ones, and thank you for the follow. And we hope you have a great Sunday morning or afternoon now as well.
And I'm actually going to comment on this as well. TikTok 2HMZ says, because I totally agree with this. Mass religion is useful for the masses. Faith is a personal journey. I agree with that. That's 100%. The reason why I said pick up the Bible, is because, sorry, not to interrupt you, is because I think you have to take your own personal, because I didn't even know Jesus until like later on in life personally. I mean, I feel like I was saved maybe when I was younger and stuff, but it was more like what my parents were just kind of pushing onto me and teaching me. Although I do wish that they would have gotten me into the church more, because they kind of like at an age where like you can do whatever you want, but I think I would have learned more, or
at least helped you study it more
properly. Study it the right way rather than just being like, because like in a Baptist, I grew up in a Baptist church, and in a Baptist church it was very like, you don't ask questions, you just have faith. That's it. That's all there is to it. And it's like, yeah, okay, but what if I have questions? Doesn't matter. You don't question the Lord. You just have faith. And I'm like, but what if I don't understand what some of this stuff means? You'll get it. It'll come to you when you'll understand it someday. So, and that's the funny thing, is when she and I read the Bible together, which we do throughout the year now, we will every year a verse will pop out differently.
Mhm.
And I'm like, that's what I mean. Like, I think it's like a personal life journey. So thank you, TikTok 2HMZ, for saying that, because I agree with that.
Yep.
I think every faith journey is personal, and I think it's almost, what's the, well,
Like
trying to think of what-
individualized?
Yeah. Individualized, or like custom made to you.
Answer Seeking Channel said they've been in dark places too, but we're still here. So I'm very happy to know that you are still here and persevered through the dark places that you've been in, and that I think as you get older, you think about it different. And I agree with that as well. I think as you get older, and I know for me personally, when you become a parent, you also think about it differently too. Very much so, because we will read the Bible as a family and teach the kids, and it's nice to teach with anything in life starting young, because it's a lot easier to make positive changes in when you're younger than being in your 40s and struggling with things and how to cope and how to regulate your emotions and all that.
And I also have been in some pretty dark places. And one thing I learned from Jordan Peterson is you have to peer into that darkness. And it really does help. You have to see the darkness in your own soul and try to pinpoint things that you can change to change it about yourself. But I really appreciate you coming. And I know that you said on here that you have to get going. You have a great Sunday morning as well. But yeah, I'll end it with this. Just keep fighting, man. And I'm proud of you. I am proud of you. And I hope that you're proud of yourself, and I hope you grant yourself some forgiveness and some grace, because that's what I have to do all the time. And like I said, because I've pinpointed the darkness in my own soul, and every day I just strive to be better and do better and make life better for everyone, not just myself. I think in a way, I'm going to continue this on even if he leaves. But I think in a way also we're a lot more connected to each other than we all think that we are. I think that I think we're all going to be kind of shocked, like when it comes to heaven and stuff like that, and how connected we truly are. I think sometimes that the bodies themselves are what separate us from Jesus, from God, and from each other. It's just a theory that I have.
I like that.
And
have a good day.
TikTok 2HMZ says, there you go, props, and thank you for that as well. Thank you. You sound amazing as well. We'll definitely have some more conversations. I appreciate it, because a lot of people, like, and especially friends in my personal life, I can't get real deep with a lot of people. So I'm happy that I can get in deep conversations with you, and same with you, TikTok 2HMZ, because I could tell that you can get deep as well, because you said earlier about men helping each other. And that's something that, like, I just can't find a whole lot of people that want that out of life and like want to help each other. It's sad. There's a deep sadness to it, man. And I get distraught and just like depressed when I hear like statistics about men. Like, I just recently heard 1 in 3 men under 30 is a virgin. Like, that's crazy to me. It's just crazy to me. 1 in 3 men. It's sad. And I'm not saying that that's what life is about or anything like that, but it's just
the way society has changed.
Yeah, and I think it's a definite sign of like loneliness, and I myself have been in those lonely, dark places. So it makes me sad thinking about other people in those lonely, dark places, especially if they don't have anybody to reach out to and to help them out.
I agree.
What did you write down?
I was writing down TikTok's name so I can follow him too.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Thank you. We'll follow both. And we might end up having to look up their actual names too, because remember last time, we like couldn't find their actual names. It was like a screen name. But I'm good with that. If you're good with that,
yeah.
And hopefully our next conversation will go as well as this one. This was actually one of my favorite ones. So thank you, TikTok 2HMZ, and thank you, Answer Seeking Channel. And anybody who's watching or listening to this, go and give them a follow, because they are capable of having really good, decent, deep conversations, and especially if you're struggling. And TikTok 2HMZ says, I read that the teens are looking to have longer, more meaningful relationships now.
That's awesome.
And that's good.
I like that.
That's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping that like the upcoming generations will turn
Alpha.
it. Yeah, we'll turn
Come on, Gen Alpha.
We'll turn it around, because I'm hoping that our children also will be a part of that.
And that's well, real quick, that's what I was telling him the other day because he was concerned. He brought something up. I can't remember. I apologize. And it went back to like I'm concerned for our kids, and I said I'm really hoping. I think it was dating and stuff like that. I'm really hoping that our generation as parents
Are able
are
to fix it.
making changes. Therefore, they're a little bit more conservative growing up, and so they are looking for, like you said, leaning more towards marriage, leaning more towards relationships. And I think that's a good thing. One of the things, not to toot our horns, but to like we are not afraid to like show affection to each other in front of our kids. And I think that's important because like, look, this is what a healthy marriage looks like.
Yeah, because we both grew up with unhealthy marriages.
Yeah.
So, and that's not a dig on our parents either. But
No.
and I'm also happy that you said that TikTok 2HMZ leaning more towards marriage, because another thing is because obviously marriage isn't perfect and it's not going to be perfect.
No.
It's something that you have to work at. But I think there's value in that too. There's value in the work, and there's a
And-
value in the commitment and actually sticking to the commitment. I think a huge problem that we have, and this is me preaching to the choir, but a huge problem we have is we are in a throwaway society where people don't care and they just want to constantly
Next
see,
best thing. Next
yep,
best
if the
thing.
grass is greener, if the grass is greener, if the grass is greener. And I will be the first to tell you, you'll never find perfect. I'm 100% not perfect. And if I'm being honest with myself, I think I'm married out of my league. And the reason I think I'm married out of my league is like, out of all of the women I've dated, she's just the most amazing woman, grants me grace, grants me forgiveness, and like doesn't expect like perfection out of me. And
Yeah.
it just seemed like every other relationship I had, literally everyone, and this is a sad statistic, expected perfection, like wanted me to be this weird perfect version that they imagined up
Imagine.
in their brains.
And I can see like having expectations and stuff and not lowering standards, but also if you yourself is not perfect or not perfect, did I say the right verb?
Yeah.
If you're not perfect, why do you expect your partner to be perfect?
Yes, exactly. And TikTok also says Love is Blind and Married at First Sight is really popular with the ladies.
I did watch a little bit of Love is Blind. I did watch.
I know. I do want to kind of watch some of those.
Yeah, but
they're kind of fun.
It's just fun
They're different.
yeah. And the 90 Day Fiance is another one. I think I think that's what it's called, which is I heard is a funny one too. But yeah, also people don't want to compromise anymore, and it is about you can compromise without losing yourself. I'm telling you right now, you can compromise without losing yourself, and I think people kind of get brainwashed into thinking that like I said, not everything's black and white when you make a commitment. Not everything is black and white, but man, look at everything that we've built together, and I think that's something. Why would you want to throw that all away?
I agree. And one thing that Jordan Peterson said that I really liked is we can understand and respect the draw towards novelty, because it really is.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. It's great that everything's novel. Like if you get into a new relationship and you get those butterflies and you get those wonderful feelings. But he says this, and I agree with him, you're missing out when you don't recognize that having a long relationship and a commitment and that discipline to stay with that one person, you can build so much more than like what that novelty will ever offer, because the novelty will always go away. You'll never get a relationship. And it's almost like you get addicted to that dopamine novelty of like, I want every single relationship to have that novelty in it and that newness, but that for it to never fade away. But you'll always be let down because you'll come to the conclusion that it will always fade away.
Yeah.
It will never stay there forever.
And I think novelty looks different in marriage and when you have kids, because you still can together you are experiencing new things. Like it's nice that we get to experience something new all over again, seeing the kids experience something for the first time. So I think that's exciting. I think it's exciting when you accomplish a goal together. That's something new. I'm thinking about, we still want to go on the road when we have kids that are out of the house, and that's something that's really new and exciting, and I'm looking forward.
And I'm excited to see her seeing all the different places we go over the road and stuff. Because I've been over the road, so I've seen a lot of different places. But so it'll be so fun and neat to see like her like eyes light up the way. Because like for an example, and then I'll read his comment. One of the most beautiful cities, if you've never been there, go. I don't know why, but it might just be me. But during nighttime is Hartford, Connecticut. It's just beautiful. It's just a gorgeous city at nighttime, and the way the interstate on 84 goes like over like through it, but over like a lot of buildings and stuff. It's just beautiful. It's just gorgeous. Like every time I've ever been through it, I'm just like, this is gorgeous. And the one time I was there was a big full moon, and I was just like, man, look at all of this. But she'll get to experience all of that. Yes, over the road. I've driven commercially over the road, but TikTok 2HMZ says Tetris. One gives the building block and one moves it. Even if you lose your foundation, you build it.
That's exactly right. Oh, and real quick.
And also, sorry, make your foundation in Christ. Make your foundation in Jesus, God.
I was going to say another thing that people struggle with is people changing or expecting somebody not to change over time. Things change over time. The things that I wanted to do in my 20s are not what I'm looking forward to doing in my 40s. If anything, I think I'm better in my 40s because I've learned a lot, and also I don't really give a crap about what other people think of me anymore. Sorry for the cat. So come here. So a little bit faster. So that's nice, and you are going to change. It's hoping that you guys are changing for the better. And knowing that,
you want to progress, you don't want to regress. Right. Priorities that's the scary part, is because people do change, and what if you end up with somebody who's just like, oh, I miss being a kid, and I just want to be a child and a teenager again, and I don't know.
Yeah.
And TikTok 2HMZ says, thanks for being safe and courteous out there in the trucks. Thank you. I do my best. I think I'm pretty good. Excuse me. I think I have a good demeanor for truck driving, because I've definitely run into a lot of people that I'm like, you should not be on the road.
And I've more patient.
Definitely run into a lot of truck drivers that I'm like, you should not be on the road, especially stuff that I hear on the CB. I'm like, guys, come on. Here's my thing. At the end of the day, you want to make it home alive. You want the families around you to make it home alive. And I genuinely don't care about people cutting me off and stuff like that. I will get a little upset sometimes with people in the passing lane driving. So that's the only thing that irks me. But not to the point that I want to run them off the road. I'm usually just like yelling, like, let's go. Come on. What are we doing? Let's go. Pick it up. Like, get in that lane or something. But that's the only one that really gets me impatient, but not to the point that I would get road rage or anything like that. And TikTok 2HMZ says, I think people should pass the written test for motorcycles and commercial trucks. I agree with that, actually. And actually, I'm not perfect either. That's another thing. And I can admit that I'm not perfect. I almost hit a bike the other day because we have the big California mirrors. And I was talking to a buddy of mine on the phone, not at the time that I almost hit this guy, but I was explaining it to him. And he's like, oh, you're bad. And I was like, yeah, sometimes you just have to give that a couple seconds. But I kind of almost did one of them little Hollywood stops where I'm like, oh, that's a complete stop, and just went to roll. And all of a sudden he came out. I couldn't see him because he was right behind the mirror. And I was like, oh, and he flipped me off and kept going. But I was just like, sorry, because I was at fault and I almost murdered the guy. So I unalived him. So you just got to be careful, and you got to care for each other, These people drive like they have no clue. I drive all three. Oh, nice. Yep. I used to drive the motorcycle. I haven't done that in a while. That's a scary one. I always like envision in my head like a front tire blowout or like a deer, because I'm like, man, if a deer pops out like in a car, it's just gonna mess your car up. But like on a bike, I might be. I might no longer be. But I pray that you are safe out there, and I pray that you stay healthy and stay safe while you're out there. But the bikers being more aware of what it takes to be a trucker too. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. And I agree with that also. I think that it would help to take the written test for all three, because you would know you want a distance in front of the truck, because a lot of people will just move right in, and I'm like, ugh, because it's scary. Like, we need a full football field to stop, so give us some space. So that for one. For two, the wide turn thing, come on. And then for three, it would also just help people to be a little more patient. I really one thing I do enjoy, because a lot of people are like, oh, you damn four-wheelers. I've never done that, because in my experience, I mean, of course I have jerks, but in my experience, the majority of people have been super kind and super nice. I'll put my four-ways on, and I've had people where they'll just stop right in the middle of the road. I don't know what this truck driver's doing, so I'm going to give him all the space he needs to do what he needs to do. And I'm like, thank you so much, because I'm trying to get my alley dock set up so I can back off the road into this place right here that has a dock that's facing the road. It only has enough room. You know what I'm talking about. But in my experience, that's what I found. I found people that are super kind and super patient. So, And keep it up, people. If you're listening or watching, just stay patient with these truck drivers out there, and stay patient with the four-wheelers, and stay patient with the bikes. Stay patient with everyone. You know, a lot of people, some people don't even know where they're going. They'll turn their turn signal on and turn it off, and then turn it on again, and then turn it off, and turn it on again, and then turn it off. And you're like, all right, well,
What are you doing, dude?
you obviously don't know where you're going. But and then as bikes, it'll help you to recognize that, like, you know, they're small, and just keep your eyes peeled for them. Especially because you can miss them. You can miss them real easily, and it can be a disaster. But I am good with that. If you're good with that,
Yep.
and we appreciate everybody who joined and everybody who engaged. Thank you, TikTok 2HMZ, and thank you again to, I gotta remember his other name now. Oh yeah, Answer Seeking Channel. I have it written down. I'm a dum dum. But next time will be episode 24, and we'll talk about.
We'll be at the beach. So.
Oh yeah, we'll be at the
we're gonna
beach.
do
So we're
something
going to interview
special.
our kids. So if
Yeah.
you guys are interested in meeting our children, we're going to do a 20-minute interview for each of them. So 20, 20, 20 to do like a full hour. So if anybody's interested in asking them some questions, let's keep it clean, people. But if you ask something stupid, I'll just bypass it anyway, or they'll answer it, because our kids are kind of nuts sometimes. But they're fun. They're a blast, and you guys will have a lot of joy meeting them and learning things about them. And I look forward to doing it as well. But thank you guys. God bless you guys. We love you guys, and we are grateful for everybody who listens and watches.
Yes, and remember that Jesus loves you.
Yes, Jesus loves you.